Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to tackle this poor neglected flower bed behind me. This is what I call the Gatsby Gal bed because it has a Gatsby Gal oak leaf hydrangea in it. What I'm going to do today is give this bed some much needed TLC. This is actually going to be a 2-day project because I decided I am not going to kill myself today in the garden. It's supposed to be fun, not a huge labor of love. So that's why I'm going to split it into 2 days. Today, what we're going to focus on is I have 3 Scentlandias in here. This is a great native shrub that really is very adaptable to a lot of growing conditions. However, it loves this flower bed just a little bit too much. What do I mean that it loves the flower bed too much? Well, it is growing rapidly, and when Scentlandia is happy, it will naturalize. Naturalize is a way of saying that it sends out runners and it sends out baby plants all around it. This is a very kind of tight and more of a, I don't want to say formal garden because it's not formal at all, but I don't need a lot of extra baby Scentlandias coming up throughout the flower bed. So I'm taking them out. I'm going to move them to a different location where they can naturalize. They can do their thing. And then we're going to put in 3 Perfecto Mundo double purple azaleas. I really think this is going to be a great switch out. So we're going to do that. We're going to weed. We're going to assess our irrigation and to see if I still like where the irrigation lines are laying down. And then, so we're going to weed. We're going to do that. And then we are going to plant 3 brand new spiderworts from Proven Winner. So this is a new perennial introduction coming out. And we're going to go ahead, it's called Webmaster. So we're going to plant those right here on the corner. And then when I was picking up the Webmaster spiderwort, I happened to go past a Amsonia. And it said, please take me, please take me. And so I was like, okay, come along. So we're also going to plant an Amsonia stormcloud here in this spot as well. It is the middle of March here in North Carolina, a zone 8A. It feels like spring is here. We're going to reach close to 80 today. It's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. And then, of course, like spring, most places, in a couple of days, we're going to hit down and the low is going to be 36 and the highs are going to be in the upper 50s. So it is a roller coaster of weather around here. We're taking advantage of the sunshine today and we're going to work in the garden. I'm going to walk you through step by step, explain to you everything that I'm doing and why I am doing it. And yeah, we're just going to have a great time here in the garden together today. I am standing beside one of the 3 of the Scentlandias. Now, Scentlandia is a sweet spire, an Itea, and it is native to North America. It is deer resistant. It is a great shrub because it can go from zones 5 to 9. It can go anywhere from full sun, like I have it, all the way to full shade. Where I'm going to move them is going to be more of a morning sun, afternoon shade area. I think, quote, the problem with where these guys are is that I do have irrigation in this flower bed. And while it's not an enormous amount of irrigation, there is drip irrigation that wraps one time around each plant. It is enough to make this plant extremely happy, and so it does send out those runners. It naturalizes. I just don't want that in this flower bed. I want it to be a little bit neater and tidier than that. Scentlandia is gorgeous though because in the early early summer, it's just going to depend on the weather, right? It does these really nice elongated white bottle brush like blooms on it. Obviously has a nice sweet fragrance. Your pollinators love it. And then once the flowers are gone, then it has a great foliage. And in the fall, it does stunning red leaves on it. So those leaves turn red, a really rich burgundy color. And I have found that the Scentlandia holds on to the leaves a lot longer, say, than other plants. So you really have a beautiful extended season of color with this shrub. This is a great example of wonderful plant, wrong location. So that is what we're going to fix today. I am working solo other than my 4-legged furry friend here with me. That is my cheerleader. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get in there and wrestle these things, get them out, make sure that I get all the roots out, all the little runners that are coming. Got my handy dandy shovel. So we're just going to get these guys, and then I'm just going to, for now, just kind of drag them off into the gravel, and then hopefully later I will get either Jackson or Jerry, whenever they get home, we'll throw them in one of the machines with the bucket, and then we can haul them down to where I want to plant them. I imagine that the root system is pretty extensive. Most of your root systems go out instead of down. I think that's what the case is going to be here. So we'll get like the bobcat with the big auger and do the holes and plop them in. But for the meantime, these plants are tough. You cannot hurt them. So I'm just going to get in here and dig them up. I'm sure this is going to be a very attractive session of Jenny digging up a shrub, and get all 3 of them out, and then we'll move on from there. My friends, so you know how I said I was flying solo today? Well, ta-da! Look who showed up. Perfect. He was helping with a job somewhere else, and I got the first 2 dug up. I tried moving the first one. Because of our lovely clay soil and all the rain we've had and how massive that root system was, I knew I was not going to be pulling it out by myself. So he had just gotten home, and I was like, oh, when you get a chance, just come down. I didn't need to borrow your muscles. I was able to get the second one out and pull it out, so that wasn't a problem. Already the flower bed is looking, in my opinion, so much better. Now, obviously, I can prune these Scentlandias. They stay in that 2 to 3 foot range, but Miss Priss over here in the middle, I'm 5'2", and her tallest one is as tall as I am. I have not pruned them this year because I knew that I was going to be moving them. So if I had pruned them, they would not be as tall. But again, these plants are extremely happy where they are, and that's why we're getting rid of them. And the bed already looks much more neat and tidy. So we got 1 more to go, and then we'll get the azaleas in.
Trying to get that out.
All right, my friends, so the 3 Scentlandias are out. We have some lovely, very large holes available for these 3 Perfecto Mundo double purple azaleas. Now, the thing I'm going to have to watch out with on the holes and the Scentlandias where they were is because they were so aggressively spreading that we searched all of the surrounding soil for any kind of shoots and roots that were going out. I would imagine that I have missed 1 or 2. So as the spring, summer progresses, I will need to just be very vigilant to make sure that I am scanning these areas to make sure that I don't have other Scentlandias popping up. The good thing is that the new shoots, the new ones that have naturalized, are really very superficial. But the problem is they run straight underneath the mulch, and then they'll pop up. So I just have to keep my eye out for them. And as I am installing and planting the Perfecto Mundos, I will keep an eye out for those. Now, let's talk about what we're going to put in here. We are going to put in the Perfecto Mundo double purple azaleas. This is a re-blooming azalea. They need the full sun. This bed gets absolutely full sun. It is the definition of full sun. It gets literally sun up to sun down. That is why we have it on irrigation, because it just absolutely thrives. These azaleas will do really well here. They were actually developed by Dr. Tom Rainey at NC State University. They are going to be hardy in zones 6B to 9. What I love about this one is it's 2.5, 3 feet tall, 3 to 4 wide. So it's wider than it is tall. My Scentlandias were a little bit opposite. They were more columnar. The only problem that I could see in the future is as these grow and develop, it's not going to be this year, maybe in 2 years, is that as they get wider, I'm going to have to be aware of the perennials that are planted near them. So I just may need to relocate them. What I love about having the Perfecto Mundos in here, because I went through a lot of options in my brain, like what I wanted. I love that they're evergreen, because it will be the only it'll be the only evergreen shrub in this flower bed. So they will be evergreen. They do bloom 3 times a year. They already have buds on them. They have new growth on them. They are small, so we're looking at like a new plant versus a mature plant that was coming out. So they may look a little extra small. It's just because we went from such, you know, the difference in size to this. But they are putting on new growth. They have the buds. They're going to bloom in the spring. Then I will make sure that I give them some good fertilizer. They love, azaleas are acidic loving plants, so they love Hollytone. After they finish blooming this time, I will go ahead and give them some fertilizer. If they need to be gently shaped, that's a great time to do it. It's after their first flush of blooms, and then they bloom really nice and heavily again in the fall. So that nice double purple is going to be gorgeous. I have some double pinks, Encore azaleas, just right down the path in front of the tea olives. So that will be a nice complement that we have pinks and purples here together in this space. I'm going to do like I always do. I have my biotone, and then because this is just, y'all, when I say this is nothing but red clay soil, it is nothing but red clay soil. So I'm probably going to go ahead and sprinkle some land and seed compost on top of the hole, so that way when I'm planting, it'll get mixed in, and then I'm going to come back through and top dress on that as well. Those of you that have been asking, we now have land and seed available online. So if you are interested, you can head over to gardeningwithcreekside.com. Just put in land and sea in the search bar. It'll take you to it. It is free shipping on the land and sea, so we have that available for you. I'll also tag it in the video so that you can just click on that if you want to. So yeah. Here we go. We're going to plant some azaleas. Okay, my friends, so the azaleas are planted. They've had some compost put around them. And what I'm going to do now is begin the daunting task of weeding. It is one of my least favorite things, but also one of my favorite things to do because the beds always look so much better once you get done with them. The weeds are not horrible in this flower bed. However, 'tis the season for weeds to be popping up like crazy. Yesterday I spent a couple hours out in the berm doing one whole section of the berm. People ask, how do we control weeds? In my flower beds, I pull them by hand. So that is what I'm going to do. I have my kneeling pad because I've got gravel, I've got metal edging, I've got mulch, I've got all sorts of things. It just helps protect your knees, right? So I've got my nice cushy kneeling pad, and then I have a low trug. You can use any kind of container. Use a bucket, use the old, nursery pot that you were using just to collect those weeds, and that way you can get them and toss them wherever it is that you toss your weeds. But it's really important to get ahead of the weeds. Get them while they're small, because I know it's easier said than done because life is crazy and it gets out of control sometimes. But if you have a little bit of time, just pick one little section and go pull some weeds. You will feel very accomplished. And because tomorrow we're going to come back through and we're going to fertilize and we're going to put the mulch down. So I want to go ahead and get all of these weeds out of here. Because if we get the weeds out now and then we put a nice layer of mulch down, it will really help suppress the weeds. And then when they do, there'll be some that still come up. Of course, they pull out so much easier. So that's what I'm going to do. Is my goal is to work from the start of the bed, and then I'm going to go down to the climbing rose, the generous gardener. So that is my section that I am working on. Yes, I don't know if the camera will show it, but in the back, the gravel, they are covered in weeds. With our gravel, Jerry predominantly comes through and he will spray. And so I'm not going to worry about the gravel. I will let him take care of that. And I am simply focused on the flower beds because we don't spray within our flower beds. We hand pull. So that's what I'm going to do. After everything is weeded, then we're going to come back to this little corner right here. This is where we're going to put the spiderwort and the Amsonia. So just going to go ahead and just get it done. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. My friends, we got the whole bed is weeded. It wasn't too obnoxiously horrible. The only thing is that this isn't Landia, right? So I had multiple little sprigs that I would see, and I would pull them, and they would be like, they could easily be like 2 feet that had been growing under the mulch, and then we're getting ready to pop up. I showed you where I saw just one little hump of the Scentlandia sprig was going out, and I pulled it, and it pulled up, had gone completely underneath my dianthus, and it was so intertwined with the roots of the dianthus that I just had to end up tossing it because I'm afraid by pulling it apart I would completely destroy the dianthus and or would not get all the roots of the Scentlandia, and then I would just end up replanting it. So I went ahead and tossed that one. I will replace it with another one. So it is all done. I will definitely be keeping my eye on that Scentlandia, and because I know there's more little sprouts in there that I just missed. We are going to plant 3 of the new Webmaster and then 1 Amsonia Stormcloud. Stormcloud has been around for a couple of years. It is a beautiful Amsonia. It has a wider leaf than the String Theory. So Proven Winners has 2 Amsonias. I have them both in various parts of the garden. They bloom a little bit of a different time, and they have a completely different look. String Theory is very, very thin leaves on it. Storm cloud, nice and a bit thicker. It's called storm cloud because when it comes up, the foliage is near black, and then it will turn to a nice green. And then of course, like all traditional Amsonia, they do those true blue star shaped flowers that are just gorgeous. It is a native plant, so we always love natives. To put that back in the garden, we're going to kind of stick it on the corner by itself because it'll give a nice little, give some height there. Not crazy tall, right? I think it's in that like 2 to 3 foot range mark there. But even after it blooms in the spring, it'll give me really nice foliage for the rest of the season and give me some nice structure. So we have that. And then I have 3 of the Webmasters that are going to go right here around it. Now, Webmaster is really neat because it's nice and short, right? Like all spiderwort, they tend to be on the little bit on the shorter side and they go wide. So this is going to max out at 18 inches. It is a sun or a shade perennial. Walters gave me multiples of these. I want to say I have a total of 10. So you know me, when I am trying new plants to see how they're going to do, I'm putting 3 here in full sun, and then the rest of them I will dot around. I'll put some in shade, I'll put some in morning sun, afternoon shade, all the different kinds of things to really see how well they do. These are hardy in zones 3 to 9. And they have warm purple flowers with a soft lilac edge. And its flowers are large for a spiderwort at 2 inches wide and a long blooming period. So it says best in part of sun, but will grow in sun to shade. Prefers moist, well-drained soil. I am planting these right along the irrigation, so they will get nice, consistent water. This particular area is horrible as far as like red clay. So I have land and seed that I will add to the hole. And then my biotone, of course, I have the Power Planter auger. I am using Jenny's Edition. This is the special auger that we partnered with Power Planter on. So this is my design of the auger. It is a little bit taller, so I don't have to bend over. It is perfect for a quart size container, just like this, quart or a grande. My Amsonia is a 2 gallon, I think it's a 2 gallon. And so I will just work the hole or just do multiple holes and connect them together. But it is, has that heavy duty tip and there's less flighting on it. So it's not quite as heavy. So it will work perfect in this clay soil. I just have to avoid that irrigation line, but I can see it as clear as day. So shouldn't be a problem. And then today's project will be done. Whew, Brenna and I are ready for a rest, but it's been a good day's work. We're going to get these in the ground. Part one of the flower bed makeover is complete and underway. Can't even talk. It's a good kind of exhausted, right? I think all of us gardeners know that kind of good exhausted where you're like, ooh, I could use a nice tall glass of lemonade right now and a nice comfy chair, but man, it feels great to have this done. It has desperately needed a lot of love, really, for like the past 2 years. I don't think last year we applied mulch to this bed, so it desperately needs a nice fresh top coat. Jerry's going to come back through when the nursery closes and he'll have the machine. We'll put the Scentlandias into the bucket. We'll take them down to the spot that they're going to get planted. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll show you that tomorrow, show you their new spot and show you all the good things about that. And then tomorrow I'm going to come through this flower bed and I'm going to fertilize everybody, and then we're going to put down a nice layer of our compost pine bark fine mulch blend that we have. So remember, right here to my left in the forest pansy bed, I use all the bags of the Land and Sea. That is because of this bed and the way it's positioned. It was easier to carry the bags in than try to wheelbarrow and all of that in. This way we have access really on 3 sides of this flower bed, so we can get our equipment in here full of that great compost pine bark fine mixture that we use as a mulch and really sock it to this flower bed. So we can just pull in and just dump it, and there you go. You will notice right here with the Amsonia and the Webmaster that I did go ahead and take a bag of Land and Sea and just put it all around those. This is like the worst soil ever right here. It is right beside the gravel, so there's gravel in the soil. Not terrible, but there is some in there, and then just basically zero organic matter in there. So yes, we're going to come back with some compost mulch blend, but I went ahead and added the compost right there, just trying to add as much organic material that I can into that flower bed. So this part is done. Tomorrow it will be like the lipstick and the earrings of the outfit, and it will just pop and it will be great. Then this whole bed basically will be hands off unless I want to add a couple little annuals here or there once everything flushes out, but that will be, you know, a month, 6 weeks from now. So feels good to have this done. I will see you again here tomorrow, and we will get the rest of this flower bed taken care of. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.